June 26th, they knew it was a hard rain gonna fall, but not that much. Vehicles stranded on streets, freeways, basements, catch basins for sewer water.
In 2014, we got a 4.5-inch rainstorm, and many of our basements flooded. And I was told it was a once-in-a-100-year event. And then a week ago Saturday, we got 6 inches, something nobody could have imagined.
Well, how high did it come up in your basement? Foot and a half, maybe?
Yeah. It flooded and receded. But everything got damaged with mold and flood. And people had to rush and get it out because it was moldy.
How much water do you have in your basement?
We don't have it anymore, and I don't know how much water we had in because by the morning it was gone when I looked at it at 8 o'clock in the morning. But all of our tubs, so you can see,
there's water damage on these comic books.
every single one. And some of these were from my father when he passed. So this is my husband and father's collection, and they're ruined.
They're not collector's grade anymore, are they?
It's asinine. You know, and if you look up and down these streets over here in Harper Woods, you'll see how much stuff people have lost. We lost at least $5,000 worth of items. And, you know, I still got to go in my basement and tear out about that much of the wall all the way around because it's a finished basement and replace it.
Turns out a Detroit pumping station lost power. But why and for how long?
8 to 10 inches of water in your basement, it don't make sense. The city need to do something about that. Harper Woods need to get on them and do something about it. The city of Detroit.
Olivia Lewis has been covering the story for our partner, BridgeDetroit.
Why couldn't the system handle all this water? What did you learn about that?
Right. So we've been told over and over again by the city, by the water department, that the sewer system is actually 100 years old in Detroit, and that it's only built to sustain 2 or 3 inches of water a day, whereas Detroit received almost 7 inches of water over the course of one weekend.
In the midst of the cleanup, parts of Detroit's east side had bad tap water. Here's Bernita Bradley a few days after the flood in the Morningside neighborhood.
Yeah, I didn't know till Tuesday evening, and we had been drinking the water all day Tuesday.
It's then she gave it a close look. Yellow, murky, sediment of some sort. The city posted a boil water alert. Next door, Jacinda Kaysen filled a kiddie pool with tap water to cool off her grandkids.
This water, I'm not even thinking of connecting this water with my water inside of my home. And so the baby boy had a stomach ache the next day.
But it's still not clear. It started out like it is now, which is this right here. So it started out a little murky, and you can see the little substance floating in it.
Bradley's hot water tank ruined, waiting to install a new one.
So I think people were assuming that it was our hot water tanks because most of our hot water tanks are out. And so we were thinking it might be rust from that or something sitting or something. But then when you turn on the cold water, it's the cold water and hot water.
There's this mass flooding, then you have murky water. They must be connected, right?
The city has repeatedly said that they're not connected, that it's due to old pipes, but I don't know that Detroiters really believe that. It doesn't seem like they do. The questions that were being asked, and when we relay those questions to the water department, they've said that they're not related, but I guess it's hard to conceive that a massive flooding issue like this happens and then the next day people have brown water out of their taps.
The city is given an all clear for tap water, but all this resurfaces lingering water and sewer concerns.
It got worse through the years that they don't clean the sewers. When I ride my bike, we as neighbors clean these sewers here and there. They're always plugged. When I ride my bike, I take my foot and clean the church sewers.
What happens in Detroit doesn't stay in Detroit. Grosse Pointe Park. The overflow filled the streets and led itself inside a hot yoga studio. Outside, another surprise.
So what happened to your planters? Well, I'm not sure. I think the water took them away.
Surging water's doing some streetscape de-beautification.
Washed away.
Which brings us back to that pumping station, the Connors Creek station run by the Great Lakes Water Authority.
I'm standing at our Chapaton pump station at 9 Mile and Jefferson.
Macomb County Public Works Commissioner Candace Miller said her sewage pumps were dangerously overworked when Connors Creek had its problems.
And the reason, one of the reasons, is because of what happened, which we still don't understand, at the Connor Creek pump station.
The Great Lakes Water Authority serves most of Macomb County, and Miller wants an investigation.
If there was any human error as well, by not getting into the plant and flipping on the generator or whatever happened there, we need to know.
A couple of weeks later, the chain of events still not exactly clear. BridgeDetroit keeps asking questions.
There was mass flooding around that area, and that the station, for whatever reason, whether it was an electrical issue, whether it was just from backing up from the sewers, that it was down for at least an hour, maybe two. And that in that time, there was mass water buildup. And so on Detroit's Lower East Side, there is a lot of damage because of that pump station being unable to filter water in the proper way.
We're going to be talking with our board about conducting an independent investigation in addition to the one that we will do as a common after-event analysis with staff and assisted by consultants.
The Water Authority Sue McCormick said it'll be 2 or 3 months until that report comes out. Last week she hosted some congressional Democrats, the Environmental Protection Agency, and Mayor Mike Duggan with the makings of a fix-it plan.
The infrastructure in this country was built for the climate of the 20th century. It worked well for a long time.
If we keep building the same thing that we built before, we're going to keep getting the same thing we're getting now.
They're connecting the dots: heavy rain, climate change, and President Biden's mega-billion-dollar infrastructure bill. Perhaps a solution for our trouble with the water.
What we have to use the innovation, the research, and the science to ensure that when we tell the American people we're using your tax dollars to build an infrastructure so you won't have a flooded basement again, it is real, because we are going to build a climate-resistant infrastructure.
And over the next 20 years, Michigan's drinking water infrastructure will require $13 billion in additional funding.
Infrastructure improvements would include replacing more lead pipes. Lead, think the Flint crisis, something Bernita Bradley does with her murky water woes.
I want somebody to come out and test it. I don't want to just assume. I mean, they told people in Flint that their water was okay when it was clear, when it started clearing up, right? And I just don't trust it.
This whole situation comes as we're still feeling the pain of the pandemic.
Detroit had so much loss during the pandemic, and then to come in to this summer of 2021, and now there's massive flooding where there's new financial burdens that are extreme. It kind of feels like, why does this continue to happen? And how do we think about who's in charge and how to talk to our leadership to make sure that they're understanding what we need as residents?
Guess what happens in Michigan? It rains, and it's going to rain again. And the next time, we need to be better prepared. Whether it's climate change, whatever's causing all of these high-intensity rains, we think we can do better. Maybe we can't do better, but let's at least know that that's the best that we can do.